The Center for Innovative Leadership video podcast being brought to you by the National Association of Elementary School Principals.
Welcome to the NAESP Center for Innovative Leadership video podcast. We're Andy Jacks and Hamish Brewer, the two fellows for the Center for Innovative Leadership. Andy is an elementary principal at Ashland Elementary in Manassas, Virginia. And me, Hamish, I'm a middle school principal at Fredlin Middle in Woodbridge, Virginia. The Center for Innovative Leadership video podcast is all about real school leaders doing real work all across the country right now and how they're overcoming obstacles in unique and innovative ways. What can we learn from each other? What can we learn from their insight and experiences that'll help take back to our own school leadership? Make sure you subscribe to us, like us, and share us to keep up with the conversation around innovative leadership.
Today, super excited to have Scott Hein on. Scott, that's how you say your last name, Hein, right?
Got it, like the ketchup without the Z.
Oh, there you go. Scott Hein, and you're a principal in Oklahoma. What's the school name?
I'm at Lakeview Elementary School in Yukon, Oklahoma, home of the Yukon Millers.
And you'd say you have 4th and 5th grade currently, right?
Yes, sir. 4th and 5th, soon to be 4th, 5th, and 6th next school year.
Okay. And you can follow Scott on Twitter at Scott J. Hein. Where else can we find you, Scott?
Oh, that's my main spot right now.
Yeah. All right, so go hit him up.
I need to branch out in other places, but Twitter's my home.
No, man, I'm proud of you. You're on Twitter. You're doing great. You reached out to us. We reached out to you. It's perfect. You don't have to be on every platform. The key thing is to make relationships wherever you are, right? And Twitter is an excellent place for education in general, for leadership. So follow Scott at Scott J. Hein. Go connect with him. Go follow him right now and build that relationship like he is doing with us. Scott, among other things, talks about, we're talking about storm chasing. I got some questions about some things in his office that are some good stories. What kind of stories do you have in your office?
Whoa. You're not stealing my thunder down there, pal. Look.
Hold on, I got something else too, though.
I have been waiting for this one for weeks. You have no idea the anticipation I've been waiting to finally get this guy live on our video podcast, Andy. Hold on a minute. Back the truck up. This dude is a storm chaser. Forget the skateboard tattooed principal. We have the storm chasing principal right in front of us. Not only are you insane, but what is going on in that mind?
Hey, I'm here to take on any storm I can find, whether it's a twister or a severe thunderstorm coming through Oklahoma, or whether it's taking care of kids and all the issues they face. I'm going to take it on head on. We're going to take care of business.
How close have you actually got to the inside? Like, there's some pretty good movies about storms, bro. Have you actually got up inside one of those things?
Well, I have gotten within probably half of a mile of an F4, F5 tornado. I have the big one that was in El Reno, Oklahoma 5 years ago that killed some storm chasers, sadly. That I was about 1.5 miles from that one before I got out of there. It was obviously a very, very dangerous storm. My house actually got hit in the middle of the night by a really weak tornado, and I was actually outside in my backyard looking at the clouds because there was no warning on the storm, so I didn't think it was that bad. And I went out to see if I could see anything at 12:30 in the morning, and the tornado touched down 2 blocks away while I was in my backyard. So that's probably the closest I've been. But I wasn't chasing. I was in my backyard that time.
2 things around that. A, what are you looking for when you chase a storm? And B, do you guys got like storm procedures at school and like shelters and like fallout zones and, you know?
Well, on a serious note, it is a very serious thing in Oklahoma as well as many other places in the country. We've had schools directly hit. Right. I know teachers who were in schools that lost kids. And so, all kidding aside, it's a very, very serious topic here. We've had obviously emergency situations here where we're doing our procedures during school dismissal. We've had tornado warnings during dismissal. So it's a big part of our life here. So our tornado preparedness is a big deal to us, for sure.
Well, I'm going to get out of the way, but this is why this is so special. We're getting a chance to talk to a principal that's dealing with something completely foreign to guys like me and Andy. Like, we're not having to do that where we are. So just thank you for sharing this experience. And I'm sure Andy's got more that he's going to jump on here. But
Well, yeah, I totally agree, Hamish. I mean, there's a whole metaphor about this and education. But before we even get there, I mean, tornadoes and storms are crazy. I remember my grandparents lived in Moore, Oklahoma, which is, a big area for tornadoes. I remember a story where their house was safe, but the house right next to them was destroyed because that's just the way these storms are. It's very hit and miss sometimes, which is just fascinating and scary. So what is some advice about, tornadoes or storms for schools? I know we do some drills now because, believe it or not, we get a little teeny bit of that in Virginia, but do you have any advice on that for schools?
I think one of the tough things that we have to remember in our schools, I mean, one, it's preparation. It's just being aware and making sure that you have the facilities that can, our schools, when we build new schools in Yukon, we're building a new school right now, and we have a safe room that can hold hundreds of kids in it. So that's an investment that school districts are making. Unfortunately, it's often too costly to do for some of the older buildings to retrofit them, but new schools have those. And so you do all your preparation, you do your drills, you practice and practice and practice with your kids. But I think one of the bigger impacts that we have to remember is the emotional impacts. If we just simply have a close call, we don't just say, okay, it's all clear, go home. We often have to do follow-up with our kids. We have kids in our schools that have been through tornadoes. I've had students in my school that were in a school that got hit somewhere in their past, and that's a trauma thing for them. That's an ACEs thing for them. And so, something as simple as we might have a weather program. We might have a local meteorologist come and do a talk with our kids, and most of our kids are pumped up. They're excited because they bring the tornado machine, and the kids are all into that. But you have to remember, you might have kids in the audience that really don't need to be in that room because it's going to be a trigger for them emotionally and some trauma they've dealt with. So we have to be very mindful of that and take care of our kids. And at my age group with 4th and 5th grade, I got kids that are big, they're tough. They want to be like middle schoolers and they want to act like nothing scares them. But then I've also got kids who are fresh out of the primary schools. And, you might have a kid who goes, I'm fine, right next to a kid who's crying and really, really scared, whether they've had previous trauma or not. So the emotional impact is a real big deal. And, actually the last time Moore got hit, there had been a really bad tornado the night before. And so we immediately, our reaction, you realize your reaction as a school can be shaped by events that have happened recently. If we've had a long stretch without any bad weather, there might not be a lot of fresh fear, but if there's been a recent incident that was all over the news and you even if you don't get hit, you're dealing with parents coming to get their kids because there's an extra panic because of what happened last week. And storm season is often like that here. You get repeat events. And so people get triggered and want to come get their kids and make sure they're safe.
Scott, this is already being profound already. Like just bringing this kind of microscope to some of this stuff is incredible because there's other principals out there that have to live this too. They might be able to reach out to you and connect. I mean, just really powerful words already. We're only a quarter of the way through. I mean, just fantastic, Andy.
Yeah, so I think with the point you said, I totally agree, Hamish. I think the point about, we sort of take for granted that some of our drills are like, no big deal, just do a drill and move on, right? But for a lot of our kids and a lot of our families, either just because of their sensitivity to these things or, because of their history, these are not just little things for a lot of our families. You've got to take that into account, the disruption that it makes, right?
Well, and even to talk about it as a form of trauma, right? Like when was the last time you heard somebody talk about storms or a natural event like that being a possible form of trauma? I'm not even sure I really thought about that because unless you go through it, right? Right.
So, and do you guys do anything sensitive? I know for us, with students with disabilities or, because we even worry about things if you, certain alarms, some of our kids really have a hard time with the anxiety of the drill itself more so than the noise or the lights. Just knowing that's going to come for a lot of our families is a hard thing. So do you guys think about that too?
Absolutely. Sometimes we'll prep our teachers who have kids who are sensitive, students with certain disabilities that might be, a change in their daily pattern routine that's going to, possibly be a trigger for them, trying to help them soften that when that happens, letting them know when a drill's coming up if we can. Obviously, sometimes you don't want to announce drills. You want people to practice in the moment. And are you prepared when it comes out of the blue? But you got to be sensitive to some of those kids because especially at the ages we deal with, that it can't, you don't want to be a source of new trauma for a kid.
Right.
You don't add to it.
Well, yeah, for all you listeners out there, just keep in mind too, there's some kids where they need prep in advance, like it helps them go through it. And there's other kids you don't want to tell them you don't want to tell them anything until you do it, because the anxiety of it coming is actually worse than the thing itself, right? And so that's where you get to hard, because you need to practice these things, but like to Scott's point, you don't want to cause any more harm than you absolutely have to. We never want to harm a kid, but we do have to prepare for different situations. So man, that's just good stuff.
Outstanding. Great conversation.
Yeah.
My teachers kind of joke because they know that I do have a meteorology background. Again, I jokingly call myself a meteorology school dropout. I'm not a meteorologist by any sense, but I have enough to be dangerous. I know enough to be dangerous. But my teachers know that if I'm concerned, then they know we're in trouble. If they see me just relaxed, they're like, okay, it must not be a big deal. But they're like, they will come to me, are you worried? And I'm like, yeah, I'm actually worried today. Okay, then I'm worried, So I'm kind of the thermostat for the group.
All right.
If they see me hunkering down, they know we're in trouble.
One last question before we jump into seeing your school. Well, maybe we'll do this at the end too, but any big predictions on a lot of snow this winter for us here in Virginia, or what? Snow days, baby, snow days.
Let me see what I'm feeling. I'm feeling some heavy snows. I think the Appalachian, the climate there I'm sensing some heavy snow in Virginia this year. I got some family in Roanoke, and so I know they can get it there in the mountains. I think that's going to head your way as well. You better be ready. I'm calling for what depth of snow closes school for you all?
Nothing.
What's it take? What's it take? Nothing. Okay, that's us too. Yeah, then I'm sensing at least 4 snow days for you guys.
Okay. All right.
This was the least scientific snow prediction ever. It was.
It'll probably be the most correct one too.
We'll see. Get back to me in March and let me know how I did.
Scott's like,
I'm going to call. No, I'm feeling 5. I'm calling 5 days.
Yeah, maybe.
He's like, Scott's indoors and he's looking at the weather upstairs. He's like,
you know what's funny? He can make viral videos out of this. He'd be the storm chasing, weather predicting principals, and he'll get like millions of people watching. It'll be great.
Oh, and because you'll be right half the time, right?
Yes.
So you're good. Yeah. You're good. And somewhere in the country you'll be right.
Right.
Today's gonna be a rainy day, everybody. And some people will be like, yeah, he's right. It's raining.
Yeah, raining. Cats and dogs. All right, let's check his school out. Let's check it out.
Yeah, let's check it out, man. Before we get to school, because this is part of his school, tell me about your desk. I don't know if you can show your desk or whatever, but there's a great story which leads into his school and Scott's story about his background here at school.
Okay, so I started teaching at Lakeview in 1998. I was a rookie teacher here. Lakeview was a middle school, and I taught for 7 years. Then I became an assistant principal at the same middle school for 6 more years. And about that time, I decided I wanted to start working with upper elementary students, or maybe elementary in general. So I started preparing myself for that. So I knew I would have to leave my school, my home. Well, right about that time, our district announced plans to build a new high school. They were going to move our middle school kids to the old high school building, which was going to make our middle schools 4th and 5th grade schools. Pull 4th and 5th graders out of our primaries. That gives them all some more space, and we have 4th and 5th grade. So I had the unique opportunity to stay as head principal of a 4th and 5th grade school. So long story short, I've been at Lakeview my whole career, and this desk is showing its age. It's got on the front surface of it, the varnish is wearing off. But the kind of cool thing about that story is that that's the desk I interviewed at when I was a 22-year-old college kid.
Wow.
And now it's still my desk. We're talking about getting some new administrative furniture in our district, and it tugs at the heartstrings because I interviewed at that desk when I was a college kid just looking for a job. So this is home. 22 years at this building. I've had people come and go. My team is dear to me. I love my team. My middle school peeps, they left me in 2011 to go to the middle school. Teachers that taught 4th and 5th grade at my 3 feeder schools, if you taught 4th, 5th grade, you came to Lakeview. So they became my new family. We're kind of a Brady Bunch family. We've had some people come and go, but we have a tight core of people and some great new people. We are a school family. Lakeview's home to me. 22 years here in the Yukon schools, but this is a special place to me.
And we had talked about just before it came online about the idea of like what's in your office and what has meaning. Like there's, buying new stuff and everyone has stuff everywhere. But if the stuff doesn't have meaning to you, almost like get rid of it, right? Keep the things that have meaning no matter what it looks like. It's the story, it's the inspiration. And there's nothing like that, man. That's where you interview. That's where your journey began. That's awesome. That's great.
Yeah. I was telling you, I have a card. I don't have it in front of me. I wish I had it ready for today, but I had a girl, very first day at Lakeview Elementary School, my first day as a head principal, the doors open, 5-10 minutes into my very first day, new team, this girl walks up to me with a card and it says, "I'm ready to soar," handmade card. And that I've still got that. And as principals, my God, we got to hang on to those gifts. Those are the things that mean the most. And you remind you of a moment in your career that was special, that was a launching moment. And that card from that student is dear to me. It's here in my desk, in that desk that's dear to me. It's in there. So anyway, it's
That's
special.
outstanding, man. That's what it's all about right there, Scott. Thanks so much for sharing that. Let's check out your school and see more. Let's see if we can see this.
There it is.
And here we go. All right, so here's Lakeview, right?
Yep, Lakeview, again, a former middle school, so we got lots of extra space for our smaller bodies. And so it's a great place to work. Here's some wonderful kids getting off the bus. Love seeing my kids getting off in the morning, getting off and starting a day of learning. Yukon is a top workplace in Oklahoma. By the way, our school district is the top ranked school district in Oklahoma for 3 years running for the top place to work.
Wow, what district is that? What's your district?
Yukon. And yeah, there's a ranking across Oklahoma of all businesses. And
wow,
Yukon is the top ranked school district of all school districts on that list.
Wow.
So we have a lot of pride in where we work. Here we are at our morning assembly. We have 5th graders in the bleachers, 4th graders on the floor. They're pumped
you do
up.
morning assembly every day?
Yes, we do.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So we launch our day. We call it Lakeview Liftoff because we have that. We like that attitude of launching the day.
Yep.
Here we are getting the kids and teachers up and moving. Yeah, we got they love getting up and moving in the morning. Get some energy going. Love to get the wiggles out. Get ready for learning. Pump up our day.
Wow.
This kind of thing just energizes me. That's Miss Simmons, my PE teacher, getting everybody up and going and excited.
That's impressive. You start every day like that. I think that sense of like community and starting off strong is so good.
Absolutely. This is my STEM class. This is special. And we might pause this for just a second. STEM, if you can, STEM is, we were at the time in 2011, we started a specials class that was just STEM. I know a lot of schools have STEM programs and STEM infused in their curriculum. And now many do have STEM programs. But at the time in 2011, at least in Oklahoma, we could not find another school that had STEM as a dedicated specials class, a part of the rotation. So we have art, music, PE, and STEM. So kids are constantly doing group problem solving, construction, team building concepts. And you can go ahead and hit play now. But STEM is it was an Apple program of excellence. We were recognized by Apple Computer Company a few years ago for our innovation in having STEM in Yukon. And both of our 4 or 5 schools had that. Now our primary schools have STEM infused into it. So that's something we're really proud of. Here's the 5th grade science classroom. Mrs. Barnhill's rocking it, getting kids understanding physical changes. She's actually recognized. She's a nominee for a national award for excellence in math and science teaching. Mrs. Barnhill.
What's her name?
Gina Barnhill. She's awesome. There's Taryn Ellis. She's one of my PLC facilitators for 5th grade English, ELA. Went back to my middle school roots there for a second, 8th grade. Okay, here's Beautiful Day. This is one I want to focus on. This is cool. Okay. So this started in, maybe pause it right there, and then we can let it play. So Beautiful Day is a program that started elsewhere in Oklahoma. It came out of tragedy. A community that was reeling with some loss of some people, and they decided to flip loss into a positive. And so they started an effort called Beautiful Day. And what it is you get volunteers coming into the school. You see them wearing the white t-shirts. And basically the message is the day you were born was a beautiful day. Some of our kids don't get birthday parties. You know, some parents are coming every birthday, they come with the cupcakes and they want to come into the classroom and celebrate and have a party. Well, some kids don't have anybody ever bring anything for them, and maybe they don't get a birthday party at home. Maybe nobody celebrates them. So this group of people, wonderful group of ladies that runs this, and they coordinate volunteers coming in from our community. Our district leadership comes in, superintendents, curriculum director, they put on the Beautiful Day shirts, we wear them, and we come in and we get pizza and pop and for the kids, and we have a special table and we eat with the kids. And so, put away these phones, sit down face to face, talk to kids, happy birthday. What do you hope's going to happen this year? What are your hopes and dreams? Tell me about your birthday. Do you have any plans? And then they get a card signed by everybody there at the table, and the card says, the day you were born was a beautiful day. And then Beautiful Day delivers cupcakes. So we get 700, 800 cupcakes delivered to the school. And a package of cupcakes goes to every classroom. So those kids then get the chance to pass out cupcakes to their class. And everybody gets celebrated. So you can go ahead and hit play now. And you'll see these kids getting celebrated. The other cool thing at the far end, as we go down this table, are high school students. Many of them are former students from Lakeview, and they come back on their time. And those two ladies on the left, they're high school students. They wear the Beautiful Day shirts. They come and sit with the kids. And so as you see this is something we're really proud of. So every month there's a beautiful day, and the kids get pumped up because they get their birthday party. And then the rest of the cafeteria sings happy birthday to them as they're eating and enjoying their beautiful day. So that's something that's really special. And we're doing that at both of our 4th and 5th grade centers this year. So every kid will get their birthday celebrated at school. I love the conversations. I mean, look at this. Look, that's so important.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's obviously attention to building like relationships and having someone there for these kids, because that's something. There's a pattern I see sometimes too, where like some kids get parents that come in for birthdays and other kids don't. Where you're providing that for all kids, right? That's amazing.
Yeah, and then so now they get excited. Well, when's my beautiful day? When's the October beautiful day? Oh, it's coming. Be ready.
Cool. That's cool.
You know. Here's our playground, and again, this is kind of fun because Lakeview again was a middle school, so all these spaces you see. No tornadoes on this day. It's a beautiful day. This was not intended to be elementary school, so we had to build a playground space. You'll also notice off in the distance here, as the camera pans to the left, is another school. My neighbor, Skyview Elementary, is a primary school, pre-K through 3, and they feed into my school. So we've got about 1,200 elementary kids on that same plot of land side by side.
Wow.
And here's a 4th grade ELA class, Mrs. Lee. She's got her kids, responding, showing their answers. She does a lot of centers work. We love small group stuff with our kids, taking care of their needs.
Yeah, I like what you said about small group differentiated instruction.
Yeah, this is cool. Pause this for a quick second. Mrs. Gosen, my media specialist, she wrote a grant for Bloxels. You guys seen Bloxels? You probably have. You're up on everything. So she had kids last year design. They wrote stories, their own creative writing, and then they did a Bloxels video game level based on the story they created. And then we shared them out. So kids were not only doing creative writing, then they designed a video game, and then they shared that out. This year, Mrs. Gosen decided to up her game even further, and she created a Bloxels. What you're seeing is a video game level that's a map of the library. And so to do library orientation, rather than just doing straight up library orientation, like, okay, this is over here, this is over there, she did a Bloxels level. And in the middle, there's the Miller Man, who's our mascot. He runs the flour mill in town. And the Miller Man's going around the library. So rather than doing a traditional orientation, she has a Bloxels level for the kids to explore the library. Go ahead and hit play on it.
Well, hold on, before you do that, and for people out there, I think that's so critical. Don't just add technology for technology's sake, right? This is definitely something that is streamlining a process that she was already going to do in a much more interesting and sort of engaging way.
Absolutely. Yep.
Who's beeping?
So yeah, so she gets the kids really excited and always finds creative ways to do that. She works really well with that STEM teacher, Mrs. Luffelholtz, who they work really well with integrating technology for the kids. This is Mrs. Nelson. She's my new art teacher. You still love to see kids create with pencils, clay, paint. They get after it. Art was a big part of how we transformed Lakeview into an elementary school. I was telling you before we started about the tile wall. I didn't include that in the video. Here's a PLC team meeting. We are very big on collaboration. This is my 4th grade math team. They do incredible work. All my PLCs do. They team up for kids. I got one teacher on the left there. She's sharing, Mrs. Kofed, sharing great ideas to the other teachers, and we take them out and put them into practice. Music, we do all kinds of creative. We have musicals. We have whole grade musicals with 300 kids on stage all at once, which are incredible. Here's kids doing world music, doing some drums. With Mrs. Baker. She's an outstanding music teacher. So we do a lot in our arts along with our standard core curriculum. And I think that pretty much wraps it up. I could have done a 30-minute video with all awesome things happening in my school, because I've got a team that I can't tell you. And we know we've got them all over the country. And God love them, our teachers keep fighting the good fight. It gets tougher and tougher to teach. It gets tougher and tougher to be a principal. We got to take care of these people. It's one of the reasons why I'm excited that Yukon's a top 20 or a top 100 workplace in Oklahoma, because we got to keep our great people here doing the things for these kids. It matters. My daughter attends a middle school in this district. And so taking care of our teachers, nurturing what they do, getting out of their way and letting them do the good work they do, and giving them the support and resources they need it's never been more important. And I love my team. It's a special place. We move a lot of mountains for kids, and I'm proud to be a part of it.
Dude, that's outstanding. That's outstanding. I love hearing all that. Like, your passion is right there, right? And your people recognize you for it. You told a story to me before we came on about the skunk in your office that someone gave you because they recognized you for that. What's that about?
Oh man, there's just, you're working another late night and you got to get home because you're already later than you said you'd be. You're trying to get ready for school to start. I was running out of the school about 10:30 at night on a summer night. Teachers were reporting the next day, so you're getting everything ready in the library. You want everything ready for your team. But man, I got to get home, and I run out the front door. Literally hit the front door running, and just suddenly feel that warm, just not good on you, I'm like, and I see a black and white scurry into the bush, and I'm like, no, that what, and you kind of touch your shirt, and oh man. And so then I had the decision: do I get in my car and go home to clean up, or do I go back into the school behind me and clean up in the school? Either way, I'm leaving a mess somewhere. It's not going to be a good result. So I made the decision. I don't know if anybody would vote. What would you do? You go in the car or
question, right? Stop, everybody. Everyone stop and think, what's your vote? So you're in a terrible situation. You get in your car. What's the other thing?
Or you go back into you get in the car, drive home to clean up, or you go back into the school to clean up. 11 o'clock at night, what are you doing?
Oh,
there's an administrative decision for you.
I know what I would do. I would go, because we had to I did a slime thing before. I would go into the kitchen, and in the back there's a spray hose.
There you go.
Spray myself.
I'd be looking for the spray hose shower, bro.
Yeah.
We don't have a shower, so.
I did go back into the school, and I cleaned up, and I went home. I'm sure didn't smell great. My wife wouldn't even let me in the house. I still had to go out in the yard with the garden hose. It wasn't good enough. But anyway, so the next day I'm coming to school, and I'm thinking, maybe nobody will notice, And so I come in the front door of the school first thing in the morning. I key in, and I look to the right. We have an entry into our office area, and first thing I hear is the fans. My custodian has already set up like 3 huge box fans. He's done carpet cleaning, and he comes down the hall. He goes, man, I don't know what's up. He goes, it just smells like skunk in this office. And I'm like, man, I don't know. That's weird. I wonder how that happened. He's like, I don't know, but I got these fans running. I'm shampooing the carpet. We'll get it all cleaned up. But something, he goes, I don't know. It just smells in the office today.
Love it.
Like,
Love it.
Thanks, but I appreciate you taking care of it. Who knows what happened? But
Love it.
Of course, I told the story in the end, but I was really hoping I'd come and nobody would notice.
Yeah, you're like, that's so weird. Oh.
Yeah.
What they'd end up doing? They'd end up calling like maintenance. They'd come out. It's a whole thing.
Exactly.
I gotta tell you, Scotty, it has been an absolute joy listening to you today, speaking with you today. Just so many takeaways for people, just even from the outset, from looking at emergencies and natural disasters down to showing us through your school. I'm about to ask you what's next, what's up for you, where can we find you online? I think at the very least, I want to see a Monday weather update posted, a 10-second weather update posted to Twitter. But
dude, you totally have to do that. That'd be hilarious. We will share it out like crazy, like a 30-second.
Yeah.
I feel like it's gonna be rain today. Then like weather update by Scott Hein, amateur meteorologist.
I think it'll be great. I think it'll be great.
I will work on that because again, my team, they're used to me giving the weather. Especially when severe weather season hits. I was going to be a meteorologist. That was my initial career goal. And I'm thankful to this day that I made the decision to move into education. There are great people that do meteorology and storm chasing work for real, but I realized that was a hobby for me and that my career, my calling, my passion was to take care of kids and teachers. And so I still have that as a hobby. Earth science, weather is still my thing, but that's a thing. That's a hobby. That's something I enjoy. But serving kids and serving teachers is my purpose. I'm thrilled to do it, and I'm thrilled to stand along with others, great guys like you, great men and women who are doing this every day and helping their teams. Again, we got to take care of our people. We got to take care of each other, because it truly makes a difference in this world.
Great.
So I'm proud to do it and proud to share with you guys today.
Scotty, where can we find you? If the audience wants to touch base with you one more time and follow your story and just be connected to you, where can they find you?
Best place is Twitter. I mean, the Scott J. Hein on Twitter. I would love to connect. I'm looking to grow my network. I'm not always on there. I need to get better about putting out content, because I love soaking up from other people. There's so many good people out there to follow. I want to become one of them. So I would love to connect with others. Just like when you go to like NAESP, meeting people in Spokane, I've connected with people since then. And I want to continue doing that. So if you want to be a part of my PLN, I'd love to be a part of yours, and we'll grow and keep. And I will work. I will do, whether it's humorous or serious, I will do some weather forecasts.
You have to.
I'll do it.
You have to.
I'll do it. I consider it my homework assignment. We'll do it. Weather from the playground in Yukon, Oklahoma.
You can even get like a prop, like, okay, it's gonna be sunny. It's gonna be like cloudy.
It'd be great.
This could be really funny. This could be good for you. You gotta do that. That'd be great.
All right, we'll work on it. Yep.
All right.
I don't storm chase much anymore. I've decided to slow down a little bit. I got in some dangerous situations, and
oh yeah,
leave it to the professionals. Again, I know enough to be dangerous, but I got in some pretty dicey situations 5 or 6 years ago. When you have a family and you have a passion as a career, you realize, okay, maybe it's time to let those guys do it, and I'm going to stick to what I do best, and that's being in school.
There you go. It's what it's all about. Priorities, right?
You bet.
Well, Scott, man, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for a great conversation today and sharing your insight to innovative practices and leadership and all the nuance of the school leadership position. Don't forget, all of you, to visit our webpage at www.naesp.org/CIL to sign up to share your story with us. Keep the discussion going with us on Twitter. For me, it's _Andy Jacks. For Hamish, it's Brewer HM. See past videos on the NAESP YouTube channel, on their website, and don't forget to check out the blog posts that they're putting out on these as well for all the takeaways. But outstanding job. Thanks so much for coming, Scott.
Great job.
All right.
And remember, everybody, don't stagnate.
Innovate.